Hey, Chicago, what do you say? It's the CHGO Cubs Postgame Show presented by PointsBet. Use the promo code CHGO when you sign up to get 2 risk-free bets up to $2,000. Luke Stuckmeyer, Cody Del Mendo, Ryan Herrera after the Cubs lose to the Baltimore Orioles 9-3. They'll play one more of those games in Baltimore tomorrow. Joey, I'm not a math guy. What record do the Cubs have to have the rest of the way to reach Cody's 87-win prediction?
Come on, Stucky.
Let me crunch the numbers for you.
Come on, Stucky.
He's no math.
That's a low blow.
That was low.
We're not even a minute in.
I take it all back.
We are not even a minute in.
I'm proud of Cody. He's
magician.
taking this one. You're taking this one. You're having fun with it. You can only laugh at losing to the Orioles.
Yeah.
And you know, they get a home run on the first pitch of the game from Morel, and you're like, Here they go. At least they're going to beat the Orioles. And then Keegan Thompson in pitch 2 and 3, home run.
Yeah, at his worst start of the year, of course.
Wow.
They got to go 64, and 42.
So you're saying there's a chance.
That's my calculations right now. I could be very off.
Thank you for doing the math, because me and Luke both are not math people.
No. Not math since 1972.
Well, okay.
Was it almost 3 weeks
I have
now,
been
at
an
least,
analytics guy since May 17th,
that's
2022.
different.
I think it's exactly
that's
3
different.
weeks.
Yeah.
You want to talk to me about exit velocity and whatever the freaking launch angle is? I'm all over it. But you want to talk to me about like adding and subtracting shit? No. I'm done.
Eric's trying to make you feel better. He's on the chat. He says they're an underrated team, the Orioles.
I did say that they're better than they have been in recent years.
And
they did sweep the Cardinals.
23 wins, just like the Cubs entering today. This was
bad. It was
sucked.
very, very bad.
This is not great, Bob.
Surprised nobody went to get a cone today. No,
we
it was
should've.
being discussed.
that we were saving that for the rain delay. It was going to have to be an ice cream social.
Yeah.
If it went to a rain delay, there was no doubt about it. Ice cream was in the future for everybody. It was like a Little League team was going to go over there.
I would have tried the Oreo, I would have tried that graham cracker one you had last time.
The honey ice cream with the graham cracker in it. That was delicious. Cone.
The way this season's going, we might as well get sponsored by those people, because we're going to end up going there in the middle of every game the way this team sucks. Sheesh.
I told Cody the last time we went over there for ice cream because the game was going so bad, we should just ask for one of the tubs that they scoop it out of. Yeah, I don't need a scoop. Just hand me the
tub or just get a pint. Like, just come in here and eat our feelings.
The guy at the ice cream shop thought you guys were a couple of clock store employees.
Yes, he did. We were wearing the obvious shirt, Wrigley clock, the one we both wore it on the same day. And he's like, "What's with the clocks?" Yeah, just scoop it, Marvin. Let's go. Come on,
scoop it, Marvin.
Just give me the ice cream. Let's go.
Yeah, we're over here. We are doing our jobs, and it's kind of hard to do it right now. But we're here,
judging us
on that day, and
we're
just
always
on
here.
matching shirts.
Yeah,
Right. Well,
that shirt bangs. By the way, shout out to Joe.
on the bright side, we kind of got like a preview of the home run derby. Apparently, we're getting prepared for the home run derby in about a month. So, no, that was terrible.
It was
very
bad.
It was
bad. I picked Keegan. We'll do who you got later, but I picked Keegan for who you got, and
it was 3 pitches.
3 pitches into the game, he'd given up 2 home runs.
Yeah.
And, 7 earned runs, 3 home runs. His ERA goes from 1.99 to 3.17 in one night.
Yeah. Perhaps this is finally that time. Remember whenever he shoved against the White Sox and he said afterwards that, like, he was bad, but you got lucky or whatever? Maybe the luck finally, caught up to him or whatever. So hopefully, now it's like, okay, what do you do following this? Like, right? Like, you don't want to see another bad start. One of the reasons that I'm just kind of like whatever about this game is, like, Keegan Thompson's been so good this year. Like, I can't be mad that he gave up 7. Like, it's not fun. I'm not excited to sit here and talk to you about it, but like, I don't know. Like, every starter has a bad start. Like, at least the large majority of them. So I can't be too mad that Keegan Thompson gave up 7 earned or 6 earned tonight or whatever it was, and was not good whenever he's been so good for the Cubs. Yeah. So just hopefully big bounce back after this appearance.
Yeah, I know we've talked about, like, maybe Keegan Thompson's best, role is multi-inning weapon, one time through the order. But then I look at today's game, I'm like, I can't say today's game told me he's not a starter, because it was the first time through the order that he got incredibly roughed up. Like, he didn't make it to the second time through the order, really. Like, he didn't make it to the second time through the order successfully. Like, he had given up like 5 or 6 runs by the time Cedric Mullins came back up. So I'm like, even if he was a reliever today, and Alec Mills had been the starter, and Keegan Thompson came in, if you just kind of move his stats backwards a few innings, he still gives up 5 runs the first time through the order. So I don't know that today tells me he's not a starting pitcher. I don't know that it obviously doesn't tell me he for sure is, because it was a bad start. But I think he's going to get definitely more leash and more run as a starting pitcher, especially now that Alec Mills is back, but he's out of the bullpen, and just kind of seeing where they go from now. But I expect him to get a little bit of a leash. Today just wasn't good, and that's not arguable. But
I was a little hopeful after the first inning because remember he gave up those 2 home runs on 3 pitches or whatever it was, allowed another base runner, and then got that ground ball double play. He only threw 15 pitches in the first inning, and I thought, okay, let's see if he can get it together in the second, and then it just got worse. So I didn't have it. But yeah, I mean, I don't think this start tells you if he's a starter or a reliever because he was getting beat up on the moment the game started.
Pre-game we said all-star. So, he was up.
We
he
were
was 6-0
like,
with a 199, like he's in an all-star conversation. So you're not going to let. And it's not like Kyle Hendricks and Marcus Stroman haven't had bad games. Everybody in the rotation's had a bad game.
That's true.
Yeah,
that's true.
In fact, there aren't too many pitchers in baseball right now, starters, that haven't had at least one iffy start. Like even the really good guys have a bad start. I saw Jack said we just need 9 more Morels on this team.
Yeah.
9
more Morels.
9 Chris.
I mean, if we would have had 9 more Morels, we might have been able to make the comeback because Bradish, he really wasn't that great either. He didn't even get through 5 innings. He walked a ton of guys, and the Cubs just
105 pitches.
Yeah, and the Cubs just didn't take advantage. What was it, like the second or third inning? It was Contreras and Happ walked, and then the Cubs proceeded to not do anything after that. In the rest of the inning, he got out of the inning without giving up any runs at all. And I thought at that time it was like 5-1. Thought if they were able to get a couple across there, maybe things would have gone differently. But yeah, I mean, it honestly felt like the moment the Orioles got out of that inning, and without the Cubs doing anything, it was like, okay, this is how this game's gonna go. Let's speed it up, guys. Like that's how it felt to me, at least.
Nick G said that start isn't going to help Keegan's all-star chances.
No, it's not.
Definitely not. But hey, it's
I don't think he was
worst
going the
appearance
All-Star
of the
game,
year. Is one bad appearance. Everyone in the chat or on social media wants to talk about how Stroman hasn't lived up to the money. We want to talk about how Hendricks is done just because he's inconsistent. There's one thing that you can't say about Keegan Thompson this year is that he's inconsistent. He has been as consistent as anyone on the Cubs roster. One bad performance, that's not going to change my opinion of him. So
he's still a mayor of Chicago.
Yeah. Again, he after he threw at Andrew McCutchen, he showed me he would go to war for me. So he should be mayor of Chicago.
You couldn't have imagined a better start for him to the season. Right? Like, I mean, to the start of this season, you couldn't have ever imagined things would go better than this for Keegan Thompson. One bad start, 6-1, ERA, even the ERA after tonight, 3.17.
That's still solid.
Yeah, of course. Like,
solid.
of course you would have taken that if you started the season that way. So
it just came out of nowhere. Like I guess maybe some people who were like worried if this would have happened against a team that is known for being good. Like if this would have happened against St. Louis last week, I guess people would have just been like, well, St. Louis has been playing well, whatever. Probably give them a little bit more of a, whatever thing. But again, the Orioles, they're not good. They're just as bad as the Cubs, but I do think they have a much better roster than we've seen in the last couple of years. So, and again, if you just don't have it, most major league rosters will tee off on you.
Yeah. Steven says, how long have the O's been rebuilding? My goodness.
Forever.
That is
like
true.
Time.
Literally forever.
Your lifetime, pretty much.
Yeah. I feel like they've only made the playoffs like maybe less than 5 times, like less than what my hand is.
I can look this up pretty quickly.
I honestly don't know how many times I made the playoffs in my entire life. But
what year was it, 91?
I was born in 91, yeah.
Matt says 2 walks for Hayward. Huge. I mean,
who
could have predicted that? Who could have predicted a big game from Hayward?
Looks like we got since Cody was born, 5.
Oh,
appearances?
five times. There you go.
96, 97, 2012, 2014, and 2016.
It's actually better than I thought.
Wow. They made the playoffs in 2016?
It's not good.
Apparently, yeah.
Yeah, it's
wild
not
card.
good.
They had that one highlight with the 8th inning double to go up 3-2. I watch that play all the time, but that's literally the only time I could ever remember them in the playoffs.
Which play?
I would have guessed they hadn't been in the playoffs since
who hit that? It was like J.J. Hardy was on that team.
Oh,
Man.
J.J. Hardy.
What a throwback name.
I'll look it up.
Anyways, up next on the Orioles CHGO podcast. Let's get to who you got, because Ryan deserves a win,
I do.
and he just barely got it.
After, me and my guy Ravi and someone else was on my team. I think it might have been Jack R., but, they stood behind me.
You had the first pick.
First pitch, man. First pitch, Morel, the home run. It was over. It was over one pitch into the game. How does that feel?
Well,
it was
over. Jared had Hayward, or had
Contreras.
He hit a home run.
He did hit a home run.
But did he extend his career?
No. He
He
didn't have a triple.
Games?
Now, if you're taking risk factor into consideration, Joey's pick of Jason Hayward with 2 walks and a base hit and a catch at the wall is fairly impressive.
A catch at the wall.
Because who would have predicted that? I mean, our chat was nothing but discussions of DFA Hayward. Why, I just saw one here.
No.
Why is Velasquez in AAA today with 2 home runs and
That's
Hayward's
right.
Major League level?
I'm pretty sure I predicted it because I said, Joey, you pick Hayward every time. One of them is bound to hit.
Just sure enough.
Everybody's zigging on Hayward.
It was
I'm
predictable.
zagging.
You're zagging.
It was predictable.
I'm dying over here.
then
Zagging all the way to the bank.
And then we got Luke. Luke's guy pitched today, and that's a positive. Like, he threw a
My guy
bunch
got
of
some
pitches.
outs. My guy got
He threw
some
a bunch of
outs.
pitches.
He threw the baseball.
My guy's ERA went to 3.17. Doesn't matter that it went up to 3.17.
Cody's guy was 1 for 5 today.
He got a
He had
hit.
that late inning single.
Yeah. Oh, he also lined out right into a glove. You know?
Yeah.
Like, if that glove wasn't there, could have landed in the grass, guys.
And then Jared's guy 1 for 3 with a home run and a walk.
We should open up the who you got to the minor league guys. What if someone took Nelson Velasquez?
That's true.
What if you found out that Caleb Killian was pitching at Iowa and you were like, I'm taking Killian? You'd get his 10 strikeouts, even though it was a AAA. Are we up for that? Switch? No, we better stick to Major League level. Yeah. The problem with the Major League level is we're just going to pick the same 4 guys pretty much every day.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Like, no one's taking Ortega.
No. I thought about it today. I'm serious.
Ortega?
He did? Well, he'd been hot. He'd been hot.
Yeah. He's 0 for 3 today.
But like, who before games be like, I got P.J. Higgins. It's not happening.
Higgins having himself a
last Cubs game I was at, this guy sitting in front of me, he was Rafael Ortega's biggest fan, but it was literally because he bet Rafael Ortega to hit a homer that night, in which he did not hit a homer, and he was pissed. But he was Rafael Ortega's biggest stan, though.
And he placed that bet at PointsBet, which is a great idea.
I'm sure he did.
So, I will say this, Alec Mills, well, he gave up some home runs too, but he came in having not been in action all season, and I think somebody said, I think it was David maybe said on the chat that technically he qualified for a quality start. I mean, he saved the bullpen. That's what he did. He saved the bullpen.
5 innings, 2
stash.
Stash. I don't know about the stash.
The stash.
I'm on the stash.
Maybe it's just because I love Alec Mills and his Millsisms, as in, like, every time the camera puts gets him on camera in the dugout and he's not paying attention, or sometimes he is paying attention, he just looks straight into the dugout. He just has like the best like facial expressions. Like I can't help but just like the guy. I mean, as far as like anything outside of baseball, and he did save the bullpen tonight, but for some reason I just really like the guy.
I think that the blonde mustache by itself is difficult to pull off. Just the blonde mustache. When I first saw him come out today, I instantly thought Uncle Rico from Napoleon Dynamite.
Remember when Jock Peterson last year had the mustache?
Yes, yes, that was so bad.
You couldn't see it until you really looked for it.
It was not great, but for some reason everyone just was like whatever because it's Jock Peterson and he just has swag.
He just did his own thing.
Yeah. The whole
Just
Pearls
vibes.
thing with the Braves and everything, like that's just like Jock Peterson. Like he just is just who he is. So it was always one of those. But like to see after not seeing Alec Mills for 2 months, and then he makes his season debut in Baltimore in front of like 5,000 fans, to see he's rocking a stash. I don't know. I'm just saying he kind of he just put himself out there like, hey, watch out. I'm Alec Mills, guys. So.
I saw that
We've gone through the positives of today.
Rhonda wants to know why the Cubs don't play Frazier. That was a
good question, Rhonda.
That was a pregame debate. It was, we fell into the trap again. Why is Hayward playing and Frazier not playing? And
it's a good question.
Ryan reminds us that it's never going to change, so just accept it. And then every once in a while you just want to say, but how is Frazier supposed to prove anything if he's not getting consistent playing time? But then the flip side, the same could be said for Madrigal, and he continues to not get it done. Yeah. I don't know what the answer with him is. We talked yesterday with Greg, and he was like, minor leagues aren't the answer. It's going down to Iowa's not the answer. I don't know what the answer is then, because the failure for Madrigal at the major league level, eventually that kind of failure is going to get to him.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, and then the thing is that you just he's not gonna hit for power. He doesn't walk that much. Like his thing is being able to get a lot of hits and string together a lot of hits and bet 300, and that's what he's done at every level. It's just he's not doing that. Mm-hmm. He's 0 for 4 today.
Yeah, I was told he's Ryan Theriot. Dude, that's a disrespect to Ryan Theriot right now, because Ryan Theriot did way more than what we've seen out of Nick Madrigal, man. Like he just ain't doing shit. It's as simple as that. He just hasn't done anything outside of hitting the ball to second or shortstop. That is literally all he's done for most of the season. I know he was hurt, and I know he's coming off the injury, and I'm really trying to, be patient, because, again, this season, what does it freaking matter anyway? But, like, we need to see the hits at least. You know what I mean? Like, that way you can be like, well, at least the guy, he's a good hitter. But, like, I don't know what it is, man. He's just pounding the ball straight into the ground. He's in the second or shortstop most of the time. And he's not fast enough to beat out these ground balls. So we gotta hit it to the outfield, bro. Like,
I thought that one hit to right field the other day, we were talking about the one down the right field line. I thought, maybe that'll get him going. But then the next game, it's more of the same.
Joe brings up a good point. Remember, only 100 plate appearances removed from a season-ending injury. We know that, but also, we have every right to be disappointed, I think, so far.
Yeah, and that's what that's kind of basically what I just said, is just like, I'm trying to be patient because he's coming off the injury, and he got hurt this year again and was out for, a couple weeks. But, again, though, it's very frustrating, especially whenever David Ross continues to put guys like Jason Hayward in the lineup and Simmons, and it's just like, we want to see the young guys play. Well, at least he is playing Madrigal, but Madrigal he's not producing. So he's the one young guy where it's like, it's becoming like hard to watch.
Go ahead.
He's also just striking out at a 15. His K rate is 15.1%. Actually, it might have gone down a little bit. It's not updated stats, but that was coming into today. While his walk rate is only 4.7%. Those are just both. Well, the walk rate is like among the worst of his career. The strikeout rate is nearly double the next from last year. But even that, going back into AAA, he's never struck out. AAA, any minor league level, never struck out to this level before. That it is a good point that it's 100, 106, 110, something like that, plate appearances into the season, into his season, since he missed 9 months of baseball. But it's just he hasn't obviously performed, and when he's not a power hitter and he's not, he's not going to beat out a lot of ground balls. Like when he's not doing the things that have made him successful, it's just he's just not performing. And they, like Joey said, it's disappointing because you gave up Craig Kimbrell for him. You traded Craig Kimbrell for him and Cody Hoyer, who Cody Hoyer is not going to play until next June or July. And then you got Madrigal, who could at least, if he can resemble or mirror anything, get close to that 300-ish plus hitter that he's been throughout his career, then he makes some of that worth it. But it's just not there right now.
I don't think we're saying either,
No.
give up on the guy.
No.
It's way too early to do that.
There's so much team control.
It's been a disappointing season, just like it was for Hoyer, obviously, for different reasons. Yeah. I would assume that when the Cubs made that trade, and maybe I'm wrong here, but I would assume that Hoyer was, like, if they were saying, we want this guy and then we want this guy, I would assume that Hoyer was the first ask.
I don't know.
But that's an interesting... Like, I wonder which guy was the one they said, we want this guy, and then another player, and the other player became...
Yeah, because when you look back at that trade at this point last year, the reason that, reason that I was okay with it was that the Cubs got 2 major league players ready to go. Yeah. And at the time, honestly, I was like, okay, I don't know what Hoyer's going to be, but at least we got a 300 hitter in Madrigal. I mean, that was my reaction. I thought Madrigal would have been the bigger piece. But I've also talked to other people, and they thought Hoyer was the bigger piece. So
I don't know.
I think it was back and forth for Hoyer in their bullpen.
Well, Hoyer was doing all right. He was doing actually really well with the Sox, especially his 2020 season. He had really
last
good
year. He kind of struggled with the Sox.
But Madrigal had the pedigree as a 4th overall pick. Cody Hoyer was drafted in the 6th round in 2018. So I obviously don't know. I'm not in that trade room, but I want to say, I wonder. That's a good question, actually. I want to say Nick Madrigal as a young,
an everyday player over a reliever. I would think that way, maybe.
But also the fact that he was hurt when they traded for him and was not going to play the rest of the year. I don't know. That's a good question. I would lean Madrigal
in one of them. One again, the high draft pick for him, and then he had shown to be very productive in 2021 as well before the injury. So. Yeah, again, that's why I think that Madrigal was like the piece of that trade, but at the end of the day, it really doesn't matter.
I think Sox fans in general were, from what I had heard, were more upset about losing Hoyer than they were about losing Madrigal. But
I think so,
Let's ask the Sox. There you go.
Yeah, they were more upset about losing Hoyer.
Yeah.
But, again, I still think that trade will go down as a win because you gave up Kimbrel. Well, he was worthless to you anyways, unless there was another trade out there that got you different pieces that would prove to be more valuable. But, I mean, it's not like you had a place for Kimbrel and were upset about losing him. You weren't.
If we want to complain about the trade, like the thing that really sucks right now is that Hoyer had to have Tommy John. So now we have to wait and see. And it's not even like we have to wait until like August. We have to literally wait till this time next year.
At the earliest,
at the earliest,
a year at the earliest.
So it is what it is. The Cubs have won trades and they've lost worse trades. That's for sure. So
Eric is a Sox fan on our Cubs chat here, and he says he was more upset about Madrigal. So I guess it depends on who you ask.
Yeah, it depends on who you ask. We'll never really know that.
No, 9-3. Cubs lose to the Orioles. Cody, how did your bets do as opposed to the Cubs tonight? Hopefully better than Keegan Thompson and the Cubs.
Well, I did take Chris Morel 2+ total bases, my only win of the night, unless Trey Turner decides to do something against the White Sox, which last I checked he's not. But yeah, I won that bet literally the first pitch of the game, because Morel had that homer in the first pitch of the game, so I won a bet at the very beginning. It was,
we should have turned it off right there.
Yeah, we should have turned it off and done postgame right away. But anyway, I made that bet over on PointsBets, my favorite app I love to log on to. It's also the best way to support CHGO. And if you download the PointsBet app and use code CHGO when you sign up, if you make a $50 or more first-time deposit, you'll receive a free CHGO membership, which unlocks all of our web content. And you even get a free shirt of your choice from the CHGO locker. If you have any questions, email pointsbet@allchgo.com and we'll help you. Remember that PointsBet is your home for live in-game betting. They even have a new exclusive feature, Live NBA Same Game Parlay. For the first time ever, build the perfect live same game parlay only with PointsBet. Combine your favorite bets anytime during the game. You can even boost your live same game parlays. And now online sign-up is available in Illinois. If you didn't know, if you've been under a rock, you can actually download the PointsBet app right now and register your account from start to finish, all from your phone. Every show I say it. If Luke can do it, so can you. It's really that easy. I've watched Luke look at his phone, and I'm telling you, this guy, he struggles with technology, but he managed to do it. So if you can do it, or if he can do it, you can as well. one of these days he's going to get up and punch me. Signing up with the fastest sportsbook is now easier than ever, so you can start living your bet life in seconds. Use code CHGO to get 2 risk-free bets up to $2,000. So what are you waiting for? Once the game starts, don't just bet, live your bet life with PointsBet. Gambling problem, call 1-800-522-4700.
Before the show, you guys were sitting here just saying, like, well, we're really kind of amazed. Once again, you made it through the night. No sleeping, late night. It's never happened yet. And you're like, how do you do at your age? How are you staying awake this late at night after having dinner at 4 o'clock at Golden Corral? And I say, listen, it's because I'm taking AG1 in the morning. I started it because I didn't have time, wanted better gut health, more energy, and an optimized immune system. Now I've been on it for months, and it doesn't taste super healthy. Instead, it's mild and tropical, and I look forward to taking it in the morning. You're asking, well, what is this super thing? Well, it's just 1 scoop of AG1, and you're absorbing 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole food source superfoods, probiotics, and adaptogens to help start your day right. A special blend of ingredients supporting your gut health, your nervous system, your immune system. Here it is, your energy, recovery, focus, and aging, all of those things. I get a noticeable boost of energy. Take it first thing in the morning, and off I go on an empty stomach. It's lifestyle-friendly. It's keto-friendly, paleo-friendly, vegan-friendly, gluten-free, dairy-free. You're all good with AG1, and you're investing in an all-in-one nutritional insurance for less than $3 a day. It's recommended by professional athletes, has more than 7,000 5-star reviews. Right now, time to reclaim your health, arm your immune system with convenient daily nutrition, just 1 scoop in a cup of water. That's it. You don't have to take 1,000 different supplements to look out for your health. And to make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/CHGO Cubs. Again, athleticgreens.com/CHGO Cubs to take ownership over your health. Pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance. It's good stuff. Still taking it.
I love it.
Still putting it in the smoothies?
Yeah, I love a little morning smoothie with a little Athletic Greens. Gets me all prepped and ready to hop on the scooter and head on over to the gym.
There you go.
Hell yeah.
How many years has AG1 added to you, like taken away from your count?
Well, it's like Benjamin Button. I had my 50th birthday when we started here. Now I feel like I'm like 48.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking. It's
in just a couple months, it's taken 2 years.
I suddenly feel like I'm
2 years back.
It's giving me 2 years back.
I suddenly feel like I'm in my 20s again. So
right.
Yeah.
You turned 31. Next thing you know, I'm felt 28
coming for Ryan.
Again.
I'm gonna get under his age.
That's
right.
right.
Keep taking it.
There you go.
So let's do a little bit. I don't want to talk too much about the game because it was a game to forget.
It stunk. It's over.
It did stink. Let's go to a couple days ago when Bob Nightingale put out an article saying he spoke to a GM, an anonymous GM, veteran anonymous GM around baseball, who says the Cubs will sign at least one of these guys, Trey Turner, Bogarts, Carlos Correa. Anonymous GM source, veteran GM.
Big if true.
All right.
Does that excite you? One of those 3 guys in free agency this coming winter.
I think
all 3 are good
all
players.
3 of them are really good. And yeah, I mean, first off,
do you believe it?
all things aside from Bob Nightingale, I know everyone likes to make the joke on baseball Twitter, and it's one of the best jokes on baseball Twitter. But aside from that, this is now the second time that a baseball writer or reporter or whatever has said that the Cubs are going to spend this offseason. And I don't know if it's going to be on any of these 3, but the fact that there's now 2, and we're here in June, it was late May, the last one, but and now in June, the fact that 2 of them have said that the Cubs plan to spend big this offseason is encouraging, considering the farm is coming up. And if they're saying that they're going to spend, then yeah, that means that they should be competing for a division title next year.
Yeah. And this is what I keep saying is we don't know which way Jed Hoyer is going to want to go, but when we look at it and it's like, this is a big market team. They saved a lot of money this year, clearly. if they see for some of these free agents, even if they don't get them, it shouldn't be because they didn't go after them. Like, I'm not saying to go out there and sign every free agent, because we've seen plenty of times and you build super teams and they don't work. It doesn't happen. It doesn't work out. You don't win a World Series. You don't win championships in another sport. Like, it's hard to do with just throwing teams together. We know that. But the Cubs need to spend this winter. It's like they already got some of these prospects coming up and succeeding. They're going to have more next year. They're starting pitching, especially if Wade Miley, Drew Smiley are gone this year. You're down 2 starters. Again, you don't know. You're still trying to answer that question of, are Keegan Thompson and Justin Steele going to be rotation guys? Are they going to be, I think
same thing.
I think at worst those three would be multi-inning weapons and good multi-inning weapons. I think that's like not even worst case scenario. It's just like that's if they aren't full-time starters, that's going to be their role. And I think all 3 could thrive in that role. But you're going to need starting pitchers if they don't. So that's an area you need to look at. Hey, if there's pitchers out there and you trust and you're not giving out 7-8 year contracts, you need to really look at that. And it shouldn't be because you're getting outbid for a guy you really want. Like that shouldn't be the reason. And then on the flip side, with the shortstop specifically, I guess, we've talked how Nico has been impressive. Mm-hmm. We've talked how Nico has shown that he can handle shortstop. But we also know that Nico is very versatile and he can move around the field. And maybe that's the role that he's best in too. Maybe he's,
the Cubs like guys like that.
Yeah. I mean, maybe he
played third for a couple innings the other night.
Yeah,
Sunday night.
Sunday night, yeah.
Sunday night.
Well, Morel would be
Morel
essentially the same type of player.
Same way, but like maybe Nico is good at when they get one of these shortstops, right? They get Trey Turner or Carlos Correa, whatever. Nico can hop in at shortstop and fill in for the day. We already know he can play gold glove caliber second base. He's apparently also a decent outfielder. He is athletic enough, and then he has speed. He has some speed out there. Like he could play the outfield, maybe not full time, but he can play there comfortably at different times. So maybe his role again is just being a versatile player that can move around the field. And we talked a long time ago about positionless baseball and how I don't really like that.
Neither.
But that's just the way baseball's going. And if Nico can do that, that just adds another player that David Ross can move around the field and switch around lineups, make sure guys get their rest, make sure guys that are need a day off, get the day off, whatever it is. That's the way baseball's going, and Nico seems like the type of player that can do that. So, all in all, that's just one long-winded way of saying that the Cubs are going to have money to spend this winter. There are going to be free agents they should look at, and if they lose if they lose out on some of those guys that they really want, it shouldn't be because they got outbid, unless it's like a crazy contract that don't make any sense. But if it's like a reasonable contract that any team would have offered, it shouldn't be because the Cubs did it.
Yeah. I mean, out of those 3, if you want me to choose which one I want,
I do.
I mean, I know Correa's having a little bit of a down year, and that might mean he might opt in.
He's the youngest.
But he is the youngest, and I still think that teams will be out there willing to pay probably close to the same amount of money, especially if he wants to go do like the same thing over again and take a shorter term deal. And what I mean, where I'm going with that. But I mean, I don't know. I mean, does he want to play with the Twins for more than 1 year? I don't know. Depends. I mean, they are first place in the AL Central right now. I don't know how long they're going to stay in it. And you assume with the talent that he has that he is going to, by the end of the year, he'll probably still have right around the same amount of the same numbers that he's had over the course of his career, at least mostly. But yeah, to me, I mean, Correa would be the one that I want just because he's younger. But I just don't know if he'll opt out. If I had to choose between the other 2, I've been a fan of Trey Turner for a long time. Yeah. I haven't really watched Xander Bogaerts as much because he's in the AL, but both of them very good. Bogaerts leads both of them with
both have 6 homers this year. Like if you just look at if you
just
care about
WAR right now,
it's interesting. If you just care about WAR, Nico has a better WAR than Turner and Correa this year.
Yeah, which is wild.
Not better than Tim Anderson.
I think Bogaerts is.
Here we go, Ryan. Thank you.
Bogaerts is probably the least sexy out of the 3. I think probably just
could be the best value.
Lack of power, but I mean, if I was looking at them, I think his bat is probably year in, year out, the most consistent and has a good, just with that approach, high contact guy will age well. Correa's already had some injury problems, and Turner relies a lot on the speed. They'll both, I mean, all of them are going to be good players for years ahead. The one thing that interests me about Bogaerts is that the Red Sox just went out and paid $140 million for Trevor Story, and I imagine that's a hedge against them not wanting to spend $250 million on Bogaerts. We've already seen them unwilling to spend all that money on Mookie Betts. So I'm get the feeling that Boston's not going to be in the Bogaerts market, and I'm just wondering how that's going to play out now.
Yeah, that's a good point, Joey.
I'm also curious, have either of you seen anything on what like a Trey Turner or Xander Bogaerts contract would look like?
Right. No.
No.
I'm just assuming they're going to be less than Correa.
Well, we know the Correa contract is 10 years, just based on what we've heard.
Now, AAV, I feel like it'd be similar, but
I think the AAV would be higher. If it's less years, the AAV would be higher, I think. Okay. But it's also, I get the
Correa's
sense.
making like $35 million this year, isn't he?
Yeah,
something like that.
35 million.
Over three, a year for three. But I don't get the sense that the front office is looking to shell out a 10-year contract, or really even like close to 10 years. Now, if you can get like a Trey Turner or a Xander Bogaerts for more like 7 years, I think that might be more where the Cubs look at it. Even though they're a couple years older, the contract itself is less years, and then you'll get opt-outs and whatever in there and different the way you play around with contracts. But I just don't see the Cubs wanting to give out a 10-year contract.
No,
I could see it being like 6 years, 180.
I think if that's
one of those
one
guys
they could get, I think that would be the preference. It's just, as I'm saying, is like 10 years is not where they want to go.
Yeah, those contracts in the past.
You'd rather pay less years, more money.
Correct.
That's
for sure. Especially with some of the young guys coming up being in those positions.
Yeah, and then especially with how much money, how much revenue the Cubs have every year, they obviously don't want to go over the luxury tax or the competitive balance tax every year, but in some cases they can because they are one of the big market resource heavy team, right? Yeah. So, like you said, the average annual value I think means less, or not means less, but average annual value is less what they're concerned about versus years. Because if they have a guy under contract for 10 years and then he is good for 3, is okay for like another 2 or 3, and then the last 4 are just clunkers. I don't think they want that, and
right.
We just talk about Hayward and how the contract just did not live up to the contract, and it was 8 years.
Yeah,
and he still has another year after this season. I think they want to do their best to avoid having that kind of contract over that many years, especially considering he also got a lot of money out of it. But
yeah.
Joe says, Christian Hernandez. I would still be interested in the Correa.
Yeah, Christian Hernandez.
I would be interested in the Correa deal that he ended up signing with the Twins.
Yeah.
Like one that you can get out of every year or every couple of years.
That's what we talked about with
and then there was the rumor that him changing agents played a role in that, and that might be a reason he opts out. Listen, even if he has a down year this year, which I wouldn't say, he's just been banged up. I wouldn't say he's having a down year, but and it's way too early to even say that he's going to have a down year. I'd be willing to pay that. I'd be willing to be like, I'll give you 35. It's not my money, but I would give you $35 million for a year, especially if I can walk away after 1 year or 2 years.
Right.
Yeah, and that's what we talked about. LeBron does that every year. Yeah. That's what we talked about way back when. Like LeBron does that every year, where he signs a 2-year deal with an opt out after 1. I wonder, if baseball players, if that's starting to come. Like Correa has 3 years and an opt out at first and second year, right?
Yeah.
He does really well this year, whatever. He can opt out and get paid. He doesn't do well this year. He could, still go next year and does well. I wonder if those kind of contracts you'll see more often in baseball. Just guys, it's kind of betting on yourself.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like you're maximizing your earning potential because you're not gonna end up being 30.
And we had Trevor Bauer who said when he was in free agency that he was only going to sign for a 1-year deal. He was going to keep playing under a string of 1-year deals. That didn't work out, but
but I don't think I don't think we want to be telling baseball players to follow the lead of Trevor Bauer.
100% agree. But that's players.
Many things.
That's like the NBA style of player empowerment. Shorter contracts, and you have you hold the cards.
You're betting on yourself.
Right. You're
too.
betting on yourself.
And you can go to winner more often if you want to.
You're the power's in your hands, not in the owner's hands.
Now, Correa could opt out after this season and take the same deal he just took with the Twins, but add on a year to it with the Cubs. And he'd be in the same position a year later again.
Yeah.
And it still wouldn't be that risky for the Cubs.
I've been reading the chat a little bit. A lot of them are in on Xander Bogaerts, which, again, makes sense. He is playing better than any of the three that we're talking about. And at the end of the day, I would be happy with either one of them. The only reason I really said Correa is because he's younger, and I do expect his numbers to be what we normally see by the end of the year. So, and if they're not, then I wouldn't think that he would opt out then. I mean, Jason Hayward had all those opt-outs in his contract.
Yeah.
And he sure as hell wasn't going to opt out of them. So if he continues to have a bad year, then he's not going to opt out. So if Bogaerts and Turner are the guys that are the top two shortstops to choose from in the offseason, I mean, again, either one would be great, but maybe Bogaerts would be a good fit. Get another former Red Sox guy in here like John Lester was, and then, who knows? Maybe he can be the next leader. I mean, the thing with this entire conversation that just keeps me thinking in the back of my head is like, okay, they can say they're going to go spend, and they can try and actually go spend, but how are they going to sell free agents on this team? Like,
sold Suzuki on it.
Yeah.
That's true.
You
but
sell free agents on, hey, we're going to give you a lot of money to come play for us.
I don't know. I get Suzuki is a special, he's a special type of situation.
Yeah, a little bit
different type of free agent. But Bogaerts and Turner, I mean, Turner's on the Dodgers right now. They're going to be they're a World Series contender. Bogaerts been on the Red Sox for his entire career, and they've been, for the most part of his career, have been very good. They've won a World Series. He's going to have other teams that are going to be interested in him. Like, how are the Cubs, outside of just saying, hey, we're going to pay you all this money, how are they going to actually convince a guy to want to come there and, actually be part of a winning team? That's
they
the
did it with
thing.
Lester.
Wrigley is still a draw.
I get
Wrigley
it.
is
They did
still a
it with Lester, but that was when they had the 108-year curse. And again, I do know they have prospects coming up, but
But I think the 108-year curse makes it harder. Like you said, we literally haven't won in 108 years. Please come play for us.
This is a historic franchise that's selling out most games. With what Luke said, you come play at Wrigley in the summer, guys want to do that
they
more
want
than
to play in front of a full crowd,
more
no matter
than
what the game is.
27 of 30 MLB franchises.
Yet he's still in Minnesota, and Chris Bryant's still in Colorado because the money.
Because of the money.
So
yes, because the money.
They're going to go where the money is.
I do think at the end of the day, the money does matter the most to the players, for sure.
Yes. What I'm saying is that I don't think the Cubs have an issue. I don't think the Cubs will have a problem selling, especially with there are some pieces around. They're not they're not floor of the MLB right now. There are pieces around that look good and obviously prove it over the whole year, but that's, if you have a couple guys like Keegan Thompson and Justin Steele be consistently good over the whole. I don't think the Cubs have much of an issue or should have much of an issue getting a player to want to play at Wrigley Field for 5 seasons. Because it is you look at it in the summer, the Cubs are going to be bad this year, and they'll probably still be, they're not going to be sellouts every night, but there's going to be a lot of fans in the stands.
You still get good crowds on the weekend and fans into it.
I don't know.
I don't think they'll have trouble selling it if the money was equal. I don't think they'd have trouble or slightly more. But if they're trying to get a bargain compared to other teams spending more, then they got an issue.
My reason I even said the 108-year thing that they sold on Lester was that they sold the prospects. They sold Anthony Rizzo and Chris Bryant on them. What are they going to sell to these free agents of who's coming up? Who's going to be part of the core, players with him, with whether it's Turner or Bogaerts or Correa, who will be those guys? And that's why you keep Wilson Contreras around. At least you got an all-star catcher.
But I think that is part of the sell for one of these guys. You're going to come in and be a leader on the team and one of our more established veterans for a team that I think a lot of us
team.
And for a team that the front office and the fans believe is going to be competitive in the next 2 or 3 seasons, especially with all the resources, the money, I think that's part of the sell.
Yeah. I got to address David Snyder's question So we don't need Correa. We got Horner and Morel. Bogarts is much better for this team. Okay, you don't say no to Correa just because you have Nico Horner and Christopher Morel on your team. Christopher Morel's 3 weeks into being a big leaguer. Like, he is good. He's played really well, but he has really not proven anything because he's 3 weeks, 21 games into his big league career. Nico Horner has been a starting shortstop, full-time starting shortstop for 2 months, and not even 2 months consistently because he missed a couple weeks with an ankle injury.
Because of an umpire.
He himself has also not proven that he could do it over not even just career-wise, that he could do it over 162. Now, he looks good. And both of them look good. Both of them look great.
Both of them are part of your team.
Yeah, and we are talking about how they are doing well in the opportunities they're given, and they're taking the chances they're given and running with it. Of course, 100%. Nico has looked good at shortstop. Christopher Morel has just looked good in general. But they have, for now, if you're saying, hey, we have Nico and Morel, like, we're good. No. They haven't proven anything over an entire season, let alone an entire half season. Mm-hmm. They haven't. So,
and even if they, like, if Morel, like, goes on to have, like,
or Christian Hernandez, for that matter, right?
Right. Well, okay, what I was getting ready to say, though, is, like, even if Morel stays up and goes on to have a 3-WAR season, maybe even more. I don't know what his WAR is right now, but, like, right now he looks like he's in line to have a 3-WAR at least. And Nico, same. Like, even if they go on to have really solid years, you still want to go get another – you want to add depth. That is why the 2016 team won the World Series. That team was full of depth, and you can move Morel around. It's not like Morel's going to be your starting second baseman. You can play him in center. You can play him at short on days you want to give Nico off. You can play him at third base if you're going to give Patrick Wisdom a day off, or whoever. You go get Bogarts. You can put Bogarts at short, Nico at second, and then you can use Morel with all those other, like, in those spots when you want to give those guys days off. But also, you have all three of them. That just makes your lineup even better. Again, if Nico and Morel play like they have been playing all season, the rest of the year, and you can go into next year thinking, okay, these guys are part of, a contending team or a competitive team. Again, still a lot of baseball left. We got to see it, but you can't just sit here and say these are the guys whenever there are free agents to be had, and you can actually put a team together and say, hey, we have a good team, but let's make it better by bolstering the lineup with someone who's proven over a period of time of being one of the best players at this position and for another team. So that's the reason why it's important to go get one of those three guys.
Right. The Cubs in 2016 would have never said, no, we're not going to sign Ben Zobrist because we have Addison Russell and Javi Baez. Because you're always going to go add a player of that caliber.
Yeah, and then it's just...
Good analysis.
And then we just keep talking about question marks and how many question marks the Cubs have. Chris Morel and Nico Horner, as well as they have played, are still question marks. As far as can they do what, can Nico Horner be an everyday shortstop for the rest of his career? Can Chris Morel, is this a 3-week just really good stretch, or can he do it, as a productive player for the Cubs for his whole career? Those guys are both question marks. The only question mark around Carlos Correa is his ability to stay healthy, which again is a big question mark because the best ability is availability. That's the saying right there.
Once said that. I think he said that in this office.
But it's true, and that's why I call it the Carlos Correa is a question mark. But if you're saying we don't need Carlos Correa because we got that's your thing. The Cubs just because the Cubs have Nico Horner and Chris Morel playing well right now, that you can't look 4 months in the future if he opts out. You can't look 4 months in the future and say, oh, the Cubs don't need to sign Carlos Correa because they got these two guys playing well right now. That's just
it's not like right now we're not trying to argue and say that we would choose Bogarts over those two. I mean, the course of their careers obviously say that we would probably take Bogarts over those two, but what we're saying is you want to have all three. That's what I'm saying.
Correct.
Yeah.
The three of Nico, Morel, and the free agent. That's what, because a lot of people are in the chat right now, and they're like, at least it's coming off as like I think David said, people who choose Morel over Carlos Correa didn't live through Junior Lake and Corey Patterson. I just want people to know that we're not choosing to have Carlos Correa over Morel or vice versa. What we're saying is that we'd love to have Morel, Nico, and Carlos Correa.
It's my life story. You can have your cake and eat it too.
Yes.
You know, you can have both things.
Again.
And what's great about those two guys right now, so far, early in their careers, Horner and Morel, is that they can play multiple positions.
Yeah.
So
And that's the
like
whole
there's
thing.
multiple moving pieces. It's a perfect scenario bringing in one more player that, I mean, you're going to have to bring in more than just that one guy. And they're cheap, so it allows you to bring in the expensive pieces for now.
Oh, yeah,
You
no.
know? So that's why you've been saving money for a year and a half, you hope.
Yeah, Morel's a rookie. Nico, I'm not sure how many more years of club control he has, but it's at least a few. Like, these guys, you have the room right now to go spend on free agents because you're not even spending that money right now, and you have plenty of room under the.
You had that to go with Seiya and
Yep.
you know
and then Stroman's a contract is even if they don't trade him, it's a 3-year contract, and it's not a bad one either.
Right.
It's
he's good.
Yeah, it's
he's
3 years, 20
better
something
than what a
million
lot of
year.
people are giving him credit for this year.
Oh man, it's like this is the winter where no, they don't have to go all in and
they could have a very 2014 off season, go and then have a very 2015 season next year.
Yeah, 100% because
Guys, even if there was a right fielder that you thought was a great player, I still would bring in the right fielder and be like, well, say it, we'll figure it out. Like, you guys can fight it out for first. We'll move one of you to left, or
we have a DH now.
we have a DH.
Yeah, right?
Like,
Exactly.
there is not a position on the Cubs right now where I would say can't bring in a great player at that position because they're set. Like, there just is not. Like, catcher would be the only one, and they're going to get rid of Wilson Contreras. So there's not a position where I would say, nope, that guy's talented, but we don't want him because we have somebody there.
Exactly.
You're trying to add talent.
Yeah.
Period.
And they and just as the big market, again, resource heavy club that the Cubs are, they have the ability to go out there and add the talent that they need to. And I also don't think this is the winter where they go all in and just sign every free agent so that in a few years they're all coming off the books and you just things get crazy, right? Like this is, I feel like it's kind of how you try to stagger when prospects come up, which again is another reason why it didn't work out last time because everyone came up at the same time. I also think you try to get the free agents that you need right now. You don't just go crazy and sign everyone, and then you kind of, as you're still working your way back up, then you're trying to figure out, okay, this is what we need next year. Let's go out and get this guy next year, right? That's what the Cubs should be saying. So, yeah, unless they get into this offseason and the Cubs are like, holy crap, we can win the World Series this year if we get these two guys, like, right? Like, then you go in and you try to get them because then that gives you a shot. But that's an unlikely scenario for next year. And so, but this is still a winter where they should go out and get some good free agents that are going to help them win when they're ready to win again.
Exactly.
Do you guys know about Owen?
I hear Justin Fields loves it.
Owen Hart, rest in peace.
It is only what you need. Owen is 100% plant-based. Protein shake gives you nutrition that works as hard as you do. All the products are free of artificial ingredients, allergen-friendly, no gluten, no dairy, easily digestible. Listen, only the greatest athletes take it. That's why I take it. That's why Justin Fields takes it. That's why I saw Cody chugging it earlier today. Gains, guys. Hashtag gains, I believe is what they say. QB1 is taking this plant-based diet to the next level. So he's got Owen in it. Owen and CHGO have partnered up to give you an awesome offer. You can get 20% off your first purchase at LiveOwen, that's LiveOWyn.com, with the code CHGO20. Join me, Justin Fields, and many others in trying Owen, only what you need. Which flavor do you like the best, Cody?
Well, I like that vanilla.
The vanilla is the healthiest because it has no added sugar at all. The other ones have just a tiny bit of sugar in them, but the flavors are pretty great, like strawberry, salted caramel, and they're still super healthy and plant-based for you.
Yeah, no, I really, really do enjoy it. I need to. Is there a way to subscribe? You said there's a way to subscribe to it. Or
CHGO20.
CHGO20.
Sign up.
20. I haven't gotten a
20%
chance.
off your first purchase.
I was out of the office for like 2 weeks. And
Right.
Cody didn't have a knife today, so he couldn't eat dinner, so he needs his protein intake.
There you go. Meal
Right.
replacement.
Point.
Shout out to
That's-
Joey for then going to get knives.
Hashtag gains.
All the way to Target for the gains. Hey, can we touch real quickly before we go tonight on the Justin Steele comment about John Lester calling David Ross before his last start and saying, hey, this kid needs to fastball down, pound it, take control of it, fastball down, and then Steele went out and basically threw all four seamers, took command, did exactly what he said, and had the longest start of his career.
Oh yeah, no.
What do you expect from a guy who's borderline Hall of Fame?
They need to tap into that more.
Yeah,
clearly he's watching the games, but I mean,
but Ross said that he followed up with a text and found out that John Lester does not want to be a pitching coach.
He does not.
He does not want to be a pitching coach.
Will he at least come to spring training?
That was another question. Is Rick Sutcliffe's job in danger? His spring training job in danger? And Ross said, I don't think anyone can stop Rick Sutcliffe from going to Cubs spring training.
Yeah.
But no, I mean that was again. I want to say Ross brought that up to us. I think he brought it up pregame. It might have been postgame, but he brought it up at some point during that day. Then we got to follow up on it with Steele on it post game, and he said that Ross kind of gave him the tip, and then Ross was like, I don't know that these guys look at me like I was some long time big leaguer, right?
Yeah.
But when John Lester's name carries weight when you're bringing it into a conversation. So especially for lefties, like Justin Steele is a lefty too.
Yeah.
And so when John Lester tells him this stuff, especially about commanding the four seam, you see Justin Steele go out and throw his first 14 pitches were four seamers, and then I forgot I think it ended up being like 71% of the pitches he threw were four seamers. Like, you could tell that what John Lester said held some weight, and Justin Steele really took that into account. So, no, John Lester isn't going to be a pitching coach, but to have a manager who knows guys whose name hold weight like that, and not that David Ross doesn't, obviously, but he knows a John Lester who can give these guys tips, or he probably knows someone else that could give Christopher Morel a tip. He has these guys and the ability to reach out and maybe even just have guys text him. Like, I guess John Lester kind of sent him the text first, but to have that kind of
take it straight to the bullpen. Go work on it.
If David Ross is the middleman, that's a good.
Rossi needs to call up Dustin Pedroia and ask him, how do I get Nick Madrigal to hit?
I like that.
You know what I'm saying? How do I get Dustin Pedroia is the shortest guy.
Have Napoli call him up.
That's why I was that's why I said him. But I mean, if I love the story because one, John Lester is awesome and he belongs in the Hall of Fame one day. But again, it as far as Justin Steele, it's good to. I think he's been very hard to evaluate on what we want from him going forward this year. You remember the 20-5 game against the Reds? He started that game. He was awful. He's had good games. He shoved against Arizona this year. He shoved against the Cardinals this last game. And then the start before that, he was very solid. So, like a lot of starting pitchers, they have good starts, they have bad starts. But I do know that if he was in the bullpen, he could up that velocity up to upper 90s like he was last year. So I genuinely don't really know what the Cubs should do with him because I know he can be great in the bullpen, and I know he can be good as a starter. So it honestly just comes down to are they willing to go, or do they have another starter coming outside of Killian, or are they willing to go get another starter in free agency? Because I wouldn't say that I've seen enough of Justin Steele, but I have seen the pros and the cons. I think he can be an elite left-handed reliever out of the bullpen. I also think he can be a very solid 4 or 5 starter out of the rotation. So pick one. I don't know which one to pick, though, and I'm glad I don't have to make the decision.
And it does feel like, outside of the super elite starters, that baseball is a little bit going towards that player, the guy that just bounces back and forth. So
yeah,
maybe that's
maybe him again.
Maybe
him and Keegan Thompson are that type of guy. I don't know, but I guess we'll be able to know more by the end of the year. But I just hope they make the right decision, because if they reverse it next year and then things don't go right, then you're like, what were you doing? What are you thinking? And then it kind of sets things back. You know what I mean?
Those guys are important. Look how important Mike Montgomery was when the Cubs won it.
I agree. But
Don't
yes,
screw it up.
Someone get Dustin Pedroia on the phone so he can fix Nick Madrigal, please.
And somebody needs to fix Marcus Stroman from his last start.
Oh, yes.
That was ugly, and he's in game 2 of this series. So quickly tomorrow, you just hope to see something better, right? Like,
oh yeah, he had his worst start. Was it his worst start of his career?
It was
Ryan in his last start against the Cardinals.
It was
that Friday game.
It was
his worst start with the Cubs, even worse.
It was
than
100% his worst start. Like you can't really argue.
It was definitely his worst start from.
It was what? It was 10 hits, 9 runs.
Yeah, something like that. And he would have came out a lot earlier if they didn't have that doubleheader the next day. But yeah, no, I think this is a good bounce back opportunity for Marcus Stroman. He's going up against the Orioles, who I don't know if a lot of those hitters have seen him, but I mean, he used to pitch in the AL, so I don't know. Maybe he'll have at least feel comfortable there because he was with the Blue Jays, so he pitched in Baltimore a handful of times. So all I'm asking is for a bounce back start, man. Like, listen, I can only defend the guy so much on social media. Like, he's, in my opinion, has he been, again, me and Luke talked about it, has he been what we paid for? No. Has he been bad? No. But has he been average? Yes. He's just been very average. And, like, I don't care if the Cubs are 10 games above 500 or 10 games below 500. When you pay for a free agent starter or whoever, you expect them to perform, man. Like, there's a reason we sit here and complain about Jason Hayward every freaking day. Just didn't live up to the contract. Is he a good dude? Yes. Do I like him? Yes. He's a nice guy. But he hasn't lived up to the contract, and that's why people want to DFA him. I don't want people to say that about Marcus Stroman, man. I just want him to be good, man. Like, I think the big thing for him is just throw strikes.
We will see tomorrow. Cubs and Orioles one more time. We'll have a pregame show 5:30 for you right here at CHGO. We'll do the postgame show afterwards. Cubs lose game 1 of the series, 9-3. That's the last we'll ever speak of it. Thanks for listening and watching the CHGO Cubs postgame show presented by PointsBet. Take care. We'll see you tomorrow. And, you can fly the W. It just wouldn't be correct tonight, though.